Close your eyes and step into late summer of 1492. Even the wind in Spain carries the smell of politics. The fall of Granada is fresh, the royal coffers are tired from war, and every port is hunting for a new vein of income. That is exactly when I walk onto the deck of 3 small ships at the mouth of a river surrounded by marshland in Palos de la Frontera. Beside me stands Christopher Columbus. On our charts, the Atlantic looks like a blank sheet of white. Yet he insists there is a route across that emptiness, straight to Asia. What I'm about to tell you is not a fairy tale of a heroic captain and a glorious discovery. I will tell you about time measured by the turning of an hourglass, about the compass needle behaving strangely at night, about the trade winds swelling the sails while they also swell fear inside the crew, about bread that turns moldy, water that begins to stink, whispers that creep toward mutiny. We will repair sails in the Canary Islands. We will drift through the weed-thick waters of the Sargasso Sea and feel as if the world has stopped. And on the morning of October 12th, we will step onto a shore we did not know existed. Let me say this up front. The day we arrived, the word America did not exist. But people did, languages did, paths and homes did. So in this story, the word discovery will not be a single-sides victory shout. As I move through those moments bay by bay, I will realize each new inlet opens a new page in history, and also that history is not always read fairly. Across 4 chapters, you and I will travel from the tar-scented pier of Palos to the volcanic shadow of the Canaries, into the vast uncertainty of the Atlantic, onto the coral-bright waters of the Bahamas, and finally to the last night of the Santa María off Hispaniola. I'll tell you what I lived through there, what I recorded, what tightened in my chest, speaking as if you were sitting right in front of me with documentary precision, but a genuinely personal voice. One quick note before we begin: if you want more documentary-style stories like this, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And don't forget to like the video. We truly need your support to keep bringing the next chapters to life. Chapter 1. From Palos to the Canaries. The smell of departure. Let me give you the first scene with all its senses. It's the morning of August 3rd, 1492 in Palos de la Frontera, and the air is still gray. The harbor here isn't grand stone quays, as you might imagine. It's muddy banks at a river mouth, narrow piers slipping out from the reeds. The Rio Tinto carries a salty, metallic odor that mixes with the sharp bite of tar. The ropes feel heavy with dampness. The deck planks are slick with night dew. I watch Columbus closely that morning. He isn't dressed for spectacle, but there's a hardness in his posture, the stiffness of a man on assignment. For him, this voyage is not only seamanship. It's a test of authority granted by the Crown and of agreements signed at Santa Fe. Remember, in this era, sailing into the ocean is also a business venture. Charters, privileges, titles, profit shares. In Columbus's mind, wind and court language flow together. We have 3 ships. The Santa María is the larger now, sturdy, serious, slow to turn. The Niña and Pinta are caravels, lighter, quicker, more agile. Here is something crucial. Columbus did not launch this expedition by persuasion alone. The town of Palos owed the Crown a duty to supply 2 ships. But providing ships is one thing. Recruiting men willing to sail into the unknown is another. This is where the weight of the Pinzon brothers matters. They know the sea, and they know how to bargain with local seafaring families. Port rumors spread fast. A man who says yes one day may disappear the next. That's why Columbus checks the crew lists again and again. Some mornings, it feels like the voyage could collapse before it begins. In this world, the first victory of any expedition is not the ocean. It is gathering people. Even the captain's names echo along the docks. Martin Alonso Pinzon commands the Pinta, and you can feel the influence of his brother Vicente Yanez Pinzon around the Niña. We're about 90 men in total, yet that number cannot measure the fear each one carries. Some are seasoned sailors, others are running from debt, hunger, or fate itself. One question circles through the harbor like gulls. Is this man taking us to the end of the world or to the mouth of fortune? Before we sail, we visit the monastery of La Rábida more than once. It's a place sailors pray before storms and a place where news travels. The calm of the monks is the opposite of the dockside chaos. Columbus finds support there, and I also sense him weighing the final, what if it fails? In those stone corridors, you feel the true size of the ocean, because the monastery's silence makes the distant surf sound louder. Loading takes days, and yet it still feels rushed. Water barrels, wine casks, olive oil, salted meat, legumes, dried fruit, and above all hard biscuit, baked until it's nearly stone so it can survive a long voyage. Imagine this. Weeks later, that rock-like bread will feel like mercy, because even when it worms, food is food. We also take cloth, rope, spare sail pieces, pitch, tar, extra anchor lines, because the sea is not romance. The sea is logistics and accounting. Once we depart, navigation becomes a daily struggle. We have a compass, yes, but nothing is as simple as a needle. We estimate latitude from the sun's height by day and by watching the North Star by night. Longitude? In this era, it is almost a mystery, so we rely on dead reckoning, guessing speed, measuring time with an hourglass, adding currents by instinct. Every time the hourglass is flipped, it feels like more than time turns, tempers and endurance turn with it. Within a couple of days, the coastline thins into a thread. Palos disappears behind us. The open ocean doesn't feel bigger at first. It feels tighter because the horizon holds the same distance every day, as if it has closed around you. Our first goal is the Canary Islands. Columbus doesn't want to sail straight west immediately. He wants to go south first and catch the belt of the trade winds. That wind belt is the spine of his plan. Near the Canaries, especially around La Gomera, we watch the wind and the surface currents. Offshore, you can see bands of different colors on the water, like borders between invisible rivers. Columbus explains that if we ride this wind belt westward, it will push us continuously. Some evenings, we scan the horizon for Portuguese sails, because in this era, the sea is not only nature, it is competition. As we approach the Canaries, the air warms. On the horizon, Tenerife rises, and the shadow of Mount Tide falls over the ocean like a wall. We linger for days. The Pinta's steering gives trouble, the Niña's rigging is adjusted, supplies are refreshed, fresh water is taken on, fruit is gathered wherever possible. This waiting feels like a final breath before the plunge, because the day we leave the Canaries, turning back will no longer be only a route. It will be a test of will. That evening, standing on deck, I can admit something to you. When you sail into the unknown, you cling to sounds. The creak of rope, the snap of canvas, the captain's short commands, and I don't yet know those sounds will soon become a single cry that splits the night. Land. Chapter 2, Mid-Atlantic. The wind's argument, the crew's fear. We leave the Canaries in early September. Once the coast drops away, the ocean doesn't suddenly turn monstrous. Oddly, it turns repetitive. The trade winds fill the sails steadily. The ships slide west as if on an invisible road. Combined with the north equatorial current, it feels like the sea itself is pushing us. But here's the documentary truth. When nature helps, the human mind can become even more uneasy, because the faster you go, the more going back begins to feel expensive. Our routine is harsh and strict. Watch, food, repairs, prayer, watch again. In the mornings, we scrape salt off the deck. We inspect seams, listen to the mast fittings, tighten lines. Many men are barefoot, soles fighting salt and splinters. Meals are mostly hard biscuit and salted meat. The more you drink, the thirstier you feel, because water turns stale in barrels and takes on a woody smell in the heat. Weakness begins to show, bleeding gums, slow healing cuts, cramps at night. Standing beside Columbus as he works the navigation, I understand his sailor's mind. He uses the sun by day and the stars by night to hold our latitude. But longitude remains darkness. Everything rests on estimation. And Columbus is also managing morale. He keeps 2 records of distance, one closer to reality, one shorter, so the crew won't panic about how far we've gone. If you were there, would you call that a lie or leadership? Then the compass begins to unsettle people. At night, we notice a small shift between where the North Star seems to sit and where the compass insists north lies. Today, we call it magnetic variation. But then to exhausted men, it feels like a cosmic warning. The order of the world has changed. A sailor leans close to me on watch and whispers, "North has moved." I feel the hairs rise on my arms. Columbus explains calmly, "The star does not move, the needle does." But on the ocean, fear spreads not through logic, but through contagion. In that moment, Columbus speaks with a steady rhythm, as if he is trying to imitate the wind's consistency. By late September, the sea surface turns greener in places. Floating mats of weed drift by like patches of meadow on water. We have entered what we now call the Sargasso Sea, and to many men, it feels like a trap. "We'll get stuck here and rot," someone mutters. Others claim the current has died, that the world has stopped. And I discover something. At sea, you can lose not only land, you can lose time. Days resemble each other until even the hourglass feels like the same sentence repeating. In early October, tension rises openly. At night, I hear whispers. "Turn back. The captain deceived us. This sea never ends." Some argue over Columbus's calculations. Some trust the Pinzons more and say, "Without them, we'd have turned already." Columbus's face hardens, but when I see him praying at the foot of a mast, I understand his loneliness. Leadership is being alone inside a crowd. By October 10th, it's no longer whispers. Men gather on deck. Voices rise. Some shout directly for a return, and there I watch something swell faster than waves. Collective anger. Columbus listens first. Then he speaks, explaining, whines en route again. But his real move is not explanation. It is negotiation. 3 more days, he says. If we see no sign of land, we talk about turning back. That sentence is a knot tied around mutiny. He adds incentive too, a reward for the first man to spot land. After that, the watchmen stare at the horizon not only with duty, but with hunger. Then comes the night of October 11th. The wind softens. The sea darkens. I see a brief light on the horizon, like a lantern swinging once. I don't trust it. At sea, eyes can invent what hope demands. Hours pass, and then the lookout's voice tears the sky open. Land. The first time you hear that word at sea, it feels like rescue and threat at once. Because now your fear is no longer, will we die? It becomes, what exactly are we about to touch? Chapter 3, First Shore, Bahamian Light and the Moment of Contact. On the morning of October 12th, 1492, as the sun rises, the color of the water changes. The deep Atlantic blue gives way to a clear turquoise. Coral shallows refract the light. As we draw closer, you can see the seabed, pale sand channels, dark green patches of seagrass, quick flashes of fish moving like living shadows. This beauty is also danger. Reefs can tear a heavy ship apart in minutes. We keep the Santa María outside the worst shallows. The Nina and Pinta can maneuver more sharply. When we drop anchor and row toward shore, two voices argue inside me. One says, "We did it." The other says, "Now what?" The moment my foot sinks into warm sand, the softness shocks me. Along the shore, palms and low brush, the air carrying both salt and sweet vegetation. This island is called Guanahani by those who live here. Columbus records it ceremonially as San Salvador. A flag is raised, prayers are spoken, formal witness is made, and I realize changing a name can be the first act of changing a fate. People appear on the beach. They belong to communities we now associate with the Taíno cultural world. Their faces show curiosity, not panic. Some are barefoot, wearing light cotton, body paint glints, hair ornaments catch the sun. Their tools don't resemble our idea of weapons. They look shaped for fishing and hunting. Our metal and armor are foreign to them. Their ease with the landscape is foreign to us. Exchange begins with small things, cotton thread, feathers, parrots. What strikes me most in those first moments is how they use the sea, not as a barrier, but as a road. Their canoes are long, often carved from a single tree trunk, capable of carrying many people. Their settlements sit where wind moves and water is near. Homes are rounded structures woven from palm. Inside, we see hammocks. Yes, that word enters our world here. Their food includes cassava bread made from manioc, maize, fruit. It becomes impossible to dismiss this as primitive. There is a system here, quiet, efficient, adapted. But then a darker detail surfaces. Columbus wants guides and information. He decides to take a few people onto the ships so they can show routes and islands. Some seem willing, some uncertain, and the line between guest and captive is not always equal. In my chest, something tightens. I see how easily guidance can become possession. Columbus's attention narrows toward one thing. In a few ornaments, earpieces, small fragments, there is gold. And I watch how a faint glint can shrink a mind. I want to record the smell of wind and the shape of a shoreline. His questions circle one word: gold. We move among islands. The Bahamas looks like dots on a map, but at sea every dot means currents, shoals, decisions. We rid the water by color, pale for shallow, dark for depth. We watch birds. A certain flight pattern can mean land nearby. At night, the sky is astonishing, so dense with stars it feels like a new map is hanging overhead. We reach a larger landmass and Columbus's voice changes. Cuba. He names it Juana and convinces himself this must be the edge of Asia. The coastline stretches, forests press thick and humid. When we enter river mouths, the water turns sweet, mangroves crowd the banks, mosquitoes rise in clouds. One day, Columbus sends two men inland, Luis de Torres, who knows languages, and Rodrigo de Jerez. When they return, they describe something that seems small, but will echo. people burning leaves and drawing the smoke into their bodies. Today, it sounds ordinary. Then, it is a first recorded encounter, one of those tiny cultural hinges that history later swings on. From Cuba, we sail to Hispaniola, the great island that today includes Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Here, the mountains are clearer, the coast more broken. Even calm-looking bays hide reefs. Evenings burn red. From inland, we hear rhythmic sounds, drum-like pulses. We taste cassava bread again, see sweet potatoes, fruit. The approach of many people feels generous, open. And yet I know we bring the shadow of our own world with us. Let me be honest in this chapter. Yes, it was mesmerizing. But the enchantment had a crack in it. We believed we were arriving in a new world, but we were stepping into someone else's home. And the language of this meeting was written not only in curiosity, but also in power. Chapter 4, the end of the Santa María and the return, the weight of history. By December on Hispaniola, the winds shift. We remain near the coast longer. Columbus wants fresh provisions and wants to pursue rumors of gold. In some riverbeds, people show bright grains. Small ornaments are traded. Each note, Columbus writes, feels like the first line of future expeditions. I can't stop thinking. Each of those lines may soon become a burden on the lives of those who live here. Life on land isn't easy either. Humidity softens everything. Gunpowder must be kept dry. Metal rusts. Wounds heal slowly. Nights bring insects. Days bring heat. And the language barrier is constant. Communication by gestures, gifts, misunderstandings. Where is the gold is a goal to us. To them, it may be a strange, relentless insistence. If you were there, you would notice quickly the same words can carry different weights in different worlds. And then, the night of December 24th, 1498, it's calm, the sky is clear, the kind of peace that invites sleep. But a calm sea can kill attention. Somewhere on the Santa María, fatigue wins. Then comes a scrape, a jolt, sudden and sickening. The Santa María grounds on a reef. The timbers groan, the keel strains. Water begins to seep in. Everyone is awake at once. Ropes fly, sails are loosened, cargo is shifted. We try anchors, try leverage, try to use the wind. But the hull won't budge. A ship's death is not quiet. It arrives with splintering sounds, shouted orders, and that cold insistence of water pushing through wood. Here, the help of local people becomes crucial. Canoes come from shore. They assist in carrying goods. Columbus decides to salvage the wreck into a settlement. We dismantle timbers, haul beams, pull nails, building a small stockade and huts on land. From the outside, it looks like a practical solution. But standing in that scene, I see something else too. How power becomes permanent. A ship breaks, and the idea of a fort is born. As we decide who will remain, I realize how political that choice is. The men left behind must be disciplined and also capable of living among people whose language they don't know. Supplies are limited. Gunpowder, food, a few small guns, tools. Columbus has schedules written, watches, duties, rules. The place is named La Navidad. It is little more than huts and a palisade, yet in the mind it becomes a claim. At night, walking near that fence, I hear two sounds mixing, the sea's steady breath and the far-reaching shadow of Europe settling onto the shore. Columbus faces a brutal reality. We started with 3 ships, and now one is gone. Only the Niña and Pinta remain. We prepare to return to Spain, leaving a group of men at La Navidad. The farewell feels unreal. Those staying seem poised on the edge of a new life, and also a deep loneliness. Columbus tells them, "We will return soon." When I hear that phrase, I shiver. History often grows out of soon. The return voyage is harsher. Winter winds behave differently in the Atlantic. Storms are more vicious. At some point, the ships separate. On the Nina's deck, faces crusted with salt, we look at one another and understand. Survival is no longer routine. It is negotiation with the sea. Masts groan. Canvas threatens to tear apart. Columbus prays and calculates, gathering faith and navigation into the same breath. We are forced to shelter near the Azores, the islands rising out of mist like a new dream. Even there we are strangers. Some suspect we are pirates, some call it providence. Later, we reach the Portuguese coast and are compelled to anchor at Lisbon briefly. And in Lisbon, you feel how quickly months of ocean hardship become political competition. News spreads, claims take shape, rival crowns listen. Finally, when we return to Palos, the calendar has turned to March 1493. Bells ring. People crowd the shoreline. In that moment, I understand. Yes, we cross the sea, but the true wave begins now. As we approach Europe again, each coastline tells me two things. First, we lived. Second, this story will not end with what we experienced. Others will follow. Larger ships, larger demands. And the word discovery will soon blur into conquest. Let me tell you sincerely, if you had been beside me, you would have felt awe and unease at the same time. Because out there, riding the wind, there was something heavier than salt in the air. There was the weight of history. If you could truly picture this journey with me, your support genuinely matters. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and if you want, write "continue" in the comments. So in the next video, we can trace what happened after this first voyage even more deeply and carefully.